Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to be doing another 1,000 word story for you. The first one went pretty well, and I'd like to do it again. So I also do not have this one memorized because, again, it is long. The title for this story is The Start of a Very True, Completely Made Up Story. I remember my bunk at camp better than anything else. It was cold, narrow, hard, and generally uncomfortable. It was one of the most uncomfortable places to be, yet it was my home. It seemed as though it was designed to take out in the field and only sleep on for one night. But it was every night. While I would take a load off on my boulder, there would be 6 other people doing the same thing in a room only meant for 3. The idea behind this was that 25% of people would quit and 25% of people would be eliminated. That leaves a room meant for 3 people with 3, maybe 4 individuals. The perfect size. As we would lay in our stone cabin on our pieces of sheet metal they called beds, we would wonder how long we would be there. I could never tell if anyone wanted to be there. We all signed up, which assumes everyone wants to, but after the conditions they put us through, it was left to the imagination. We were scheduled to be there for 5 weeks, or 35 days as they put it. They were going to make us into the ultimate fighting machine, whatever that means. The first thing they did when we arrived was soak us with a fire hose. If you can't take a little water, then you're gonna die here. The perfect beginning to the hellscape that was coming. The idea was that in order for us to be killing machines, they would have to kill us first. Upon arrival, they wouldn't let us sleep for 35 hours. They said it was the perfect amount of time to unhinge our mind. They may have been right, but I think they just wanted to keep with the 35 theme. We started combat training in week 2. Hand to hand combat was not my specialty, never has been. The first 3 nights I went home with a new black eye and baseball sized bruises on some portion of my face. I didn't even get a punch in until day 4. Next, we moved on to target practice. This was much more my speed. I've always had a steady hand, and my dad taught me how to shoot when I was young. First shot, miss. Second shot, miss. Third shot, miss. Maybe shooting wasn't my speed. The instructor came over to me and said, "How shitty of a shot are you?" He then took the gun to show me how it was done. First shot, miss. Second shot, miss. Third shot, hit. He then looked at me and said, "Your piece is fucked, but you need to learn to adapt. Go get a different one after you land a shot." This was the general vibe of the camp. If something goes wrong, overcome it and move on. That was easy only sometimes. I spent one night trying to get over a 60-foot wall because they said, "You can't sleep until you got on the other side." I then walked around the wall and asked if I was good to go. They made me do it twice. To save you, I won't recall everything we did, but trust me when I tell you it was not a fun experience. On our graduation day, they sent us into an almost pitch black room individually. The only light was coming from 2 door sills. They told us if we could last in here for 48 hours, then we could survive anything. "I thought this was the last day," I asked, but no one answered. I found out later that they told us it was the last day, but we were actually on day 33. They didn't tell us what would happen in the room, just to survive it. At the time, it seemed like an insanity training. Stay in this dark room all by yourself for 2 days and don't go insane. Seems simple enough. But they had way more in store for us than that. Before they sent us in, they attached heart rate monitors to our wrists so they could know if we died or not. In reality, they were measuring our heart rate to shock us when we least expected it. For instance, one of the first things I tried was to go to sleep. They had obviously seen this before and were prepared. Right as I was drifting off, they turned on all the lights, 25 fluorescents that filled the room with their piercing white lights. One of them also flickered. I assume this was on purpose. When I had finally given up on sleeping, they flicked the lights back off. This continued for the duration of the test. That wasn't all they had in store, though. They also filled the room with different gases to encourage insanity. I can't remember every gas, but I know they filled it with propane, helium, and some other psychoactive drug whose name I cannot spell. The worst was helium, because there was no odor or any indication that something was going wrong. All of a sudden, my voice was higher and I felt woozy. Couple that with being awake in a mostly dark room for 30 hours, and it was a nightmare. When they finally let me out, it felt like way longer than 48 hours. I remember thinking they forgot about me and that I had been in there a whole week. The next day, they gave me my stupid diploma and sent me on my way. Everyone had questions when I got back, but I couldn't answer them. The entire process felt like a blur that my memory had wiped away so I wouldn't kill myself. I can't even entirely remember what I learned there, but what I do know is how to snap someone's neck, paralyze them with a single blow, and concuss them in the way that they won't remember me. It was an interesting month. Thank you. That's all I have for you. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Thanks.